Okay. I think I figured it out. Just wait a few seconds. Hello, everyone. Of course, it took me a second to figure it out, so I apologize for being late. I was slightly panicking. Technology and me, we do not combine. So, hi, Alina. I'm sorry I'm late. I figured it out, so I am here. Slightly late, but that is okay. Hi, Natasha. Hello, everyone. So good morning from Victoria, BC, or good afternoon, early evening, depending on where you are joining me from. I am Chrystacle, Ugly Duckling Master Educator. I hope you guys can see. So before I get started, I want you guys just to let me know if everything looks clear before I begin. I do have Natasha here with me to help answer questions, as well as Alina and her team, I believe. So if you guys have any questions, they will be helping answer them while I'm doing my demo. I just want to thank Alina for this wonderful weekend of demos that has been happening. It's been awesome to watch them. I've made most of the lives except for some of them, but it's nice that I could kind of refer back to them and watch them when I'm able to. Okay, so today what I'm going to demo for you guys is a premium fit tip application using our Velveteen Acrygel. Now, our Velveteen Acrygel is our rendition of acrylic and gel hybrid. So we've been getting a lot of requests about Velveteen lately, and we've had a lot of people kind of transition over from whether it's acrylic, wanting to use an acrygel product, or, never using an acrygel product and wanting to, use it for the first time. So I know with kind of switching over to a product that you're not familiar with does take some time to getting used to. Because for myself, I'm an acrylic girl, kind of born and raised with acrylic in the industry. But of course, as products have come along with development, I've really learned to love gel. I love our gel line as well. But kind of, Velveteen is a new product that is really amazing to work with. A lot of times people may be looking for a product that doesn't have an odor, whether you work in a salon, home style salon, or a spa that you can't really have that odor smell. Velveteen Acrygel is a great option to use. So, hi Kathy. So today what I want to show you is because I've had a lot of requests for how the pink and white work. So I want to demo a French nail using our Velveteen Acrygel. So I'm going to get right into it and start with the demo. I've already prepped the natural nail here, so I'm ready to go and just size the tip. So I am using our premium fit tips. These tips are amazing because they do have, let me just show you. I want to find one that's going to fit perfectly here. So our premium fit tips have a beautiful built-in C-curve. So these tips are great for clients who maybe have wide, flat nail beds that you want to kind of create that C-curve. And we do recommend when you are using Velveteen Acrygel to use a tip underneath. And the reason why is because Velveteen Acrygel is a hybrid product. So it is a combination of gel and acrylic. And generally when you have a hybrid product, one thing tends to suffer over the other. But in this case, Velveteen is more of a softer product, very durable and very strong. However, we don't recommend sculpting with, super long nails on forms using the Velveteen. Some people have great success and others not so much. So if you are having issues with product breakdown or breaking, that could be the reason. So this tip fits pretty well. And we always suggest fitting the tips right to the natural free edge to get the best fit from sidewall to sidewall. I'm going to slightly adjust this. Actually, give me half a second. I just forgot to grab a new file. I always like to use new files when I do my work. And my go-to file is actually the medium file. We do have an awesome file that now is our combo file. It's our newest file, which is a medium and coarse together. But I always go to the medium Ugly Duckling file. So I'm just going to file up the sidewalls just to bring it up slightly. A lot of times people, think tips are not as durable or strong, for example, but I love using these tips for many reasons. And generally, it just depends on what I'm doing, what service I'm providing for whether I use a tip or do a form. So that one is great. I'm going to come in and apply it with our Ugly Duckling brush on glue. You just need to apply a little bit. Too much glue, it takes forever for that tip to actually set correctly. Okay, hope you guys can see okay. So I'm just going to apply it right down to the free edge. And you can use these tips with acrylic, with gel, of course our Acrygel. I love using these, and especially if I'm doing, let's say, a longer set of nails, I can actually double up on the tips themselves to make them even longer. So I'm just going to hold in the sides. I've kind of, lately, when I do my nails, if I'm not using a gel, I'm always going to the Velveteen Acrygel. It's just easy to apply. You'll see when I start to apply it. For those acrylic techs who love the feel of applying acrylic but really don't want that odor, using the Acrygel is a great option. You still get the feel of applying it like an acrylic. However, it doesn't use the same ratio of liquid that a traditional monomer would require, which is also very good. Okay, so my tip is on there. So that's a nice tip, but I'm going to cut it down a little bit because it's a bit too long. I hope everyone's doing well. I know it's been a crazy last 6 months in the world, and it's just so nice to be able to get together and, join on social media, connect with each other, still do what we love doing. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a little pinch. These tips already have such a beautiful curve to them, but if you can see, I really love having that extreme pinch in there. So these tips do not split or shatter. So I can even come in a little bit more and bend them to create more of a deeper C curve. Just depending on your client's nails, you might want to just kind of get that curve in there so the nail itself looks a bit more slender. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this down. I'm just using a pair of scissors. And then I'm just going to file my shape. Really important to make sure you guys, brand new files, score the edges. I don't know how many times I've cut my sidewalls because the file is too sharp. And then I'm just going to remove the shine. Look at it from the side profile. Really remove all that shine so that we have great product adhesion. And the beauty about these tips is that you can create any shape you want. I'm going to kind of I prefer a coffin over square, but because my nail beds are pretty narrow, it's nice because I can kind of keep the shape and it's still tapered a little bit. But if I want to go and taper a little bit more, I'll taper in the sidewalls before I apply the product, just so that I reduce the filing time right at the end. So just kind of tapering it in the sidewalls a little bit. You can create a beautiful pointed almond with these tips, a soft round. And you can do that because of the built-in C-curve, because it has the sidewalls that are low down, that you can pull them up and create any shape that you want. Okay, So now I got my base all ready to go. I'm going to give that a good dust. Remove all the dust. Okay, so now prep and primer. Come in with my dehydrator, prep. So this will dehydrate the natural nail, remove any oils. If you have customers who have more of an oily nail bed, I will just let that sit and evaporate, and I will come in and do another layer of prep to really make sure that I am dehydrating that nail, removing any extra oils from the nail plate. And then once that is dry, I'm going to come in with our primer. Love this primer because it is an acidless primer. Great bonding. And I'm just going to apply it right to the natural nail itself. Again, if you have any clients that are problem lifters, which I have had in the past, I double prime. So what I'll do is really make sure to let the first layer dry, and then I'll come in maybe a minute or two later and apply a second layer. And I find this always helps. Very important to make sure you let each coat dry in between and really allow that primer to dry prior to putting on any product. If you are experiencing any discolorations, bubbles, it could be because you're applying the product over a wet primer. All right, so I'm just gonna let that dry. And I am going to be doing a reverse pink and white. So basic salon pink and white, using our white and pink acrygel. So we do have two options. We have our foo-foo and our pink. And generally, our foo-foo is a huge seller. A lot of people use foo-foo in acrylic and our gel, as well as the velveteen. But just earlier on in the year before the pandemic started, I did a private training and we were doing acrygel, and I decided to use the pink because I usually would go for the foo-foo. And I tried the pink and I love the pink. The pink is just so pretty. So that is what is on my nails right now. And it's just such a pretty pink. So, and these two nails too are based with the pink as well. So I love it. It's just topped with a no wipe top coat. It's very natural looking with just that hue of that pink. So today I'm going to use our pink and not our foo-foo. So this is dry. What I'm going to do is come in and put on a thin layer of our builder base and give that a 60-second cure. Now, because I am doing a reverse French, and I like to kind of, after I apply my pink, give it a little file around the smile line to really perfect the smile line, get it nice and crisp. I'm only going to apply the builder base to the natural nail. Just basically where I'm going to be applying the pink acrygel. And I love using this as a base. This builder base is fairly new to us. I lose track of days very easily, but I think we've had it for a few months now. This product is amazing for natural nails, a great option for a base when you're doing gel polish on the natural nails, or if you saw Alina's video earlier, she was using the builder base. Great product for, you know, creating the uniform nail. A lot of people tend to have dips in the nail plate, and you kind of want to even that out nicely. This product is fabulous. You can also use it as a builder. So basically, if you have a client who may have a shorter nail and you kind of want to make all the natural nails uniform in shape, you can create a thin layer and build it out on a form as well. And in this case, I am using it underneath the acrygel. I really love it with the acrygel because it's got a great bond, but it also helps to apply the velveteen a lot easier. And I'll show you what I mean, especially around the cuticle area, because you don't want to be using tons of cleanser with your velveteen. So generally what happens is a lot of times people want to use more cleanser because they think it will help, you know, move the product a lot easier, but that's also an issue. because having too much cleanser can cause the nails to lift or take a lot longer to actually cure in the lamp itself. So I've got my beautiful little crystal dapping dish. Love this. I've got one for my cleanser and one for my colored acrylics that I use, as well as another one for when I just do one color or pink and whites. So I've got just a little bit of cleanser. We're not using tons, so I've just got a little bit in the base of the dapping dish. Gel cleanser. And then I'm going to grab my velveteen brush. So we got our velveteen brush. So on one end is the spatula and on the other is the brush itself. So it is important because I did have a customer who contacted me early this week, questions about how to apply the product and what brush she was using. And she was experiencing difficulties because she wasn't using this brush. So having a spatula to remove the acrygel just makes your life a lot simpler when it comes to application, so that you're not fighting it. Okay, so here's my pink. Let's take a look here. Just so beautiful. And all you do is scoop out, or I should say just squeeze out what you need. If you take out too much, it's no problem, but it's better just to remove what you need at the time. Just taking a look at my nail. That should be good. And then I'm gonna come in. I hope you guys can see okay. And just apply it right in the center onto the nail. So maybe I'm just gonna put the cleanser in screen here so you guys can see how much I'm actually using. I think you guys can see that. Okay, so basically I just prep my brush, make sure I get any existing product out, drain, I'll wipe it, come back in, grab a bit more, and just dab it a little bit on the paper towel and then come back. This is a flat square brush, so it doesn't hold a ton of cleanser, which is good because you don't want to be using a ton of liquid. Okay, so basically all I'm gonna do is basically tilt it down because I don't want tons of product right around the cuticle area because I don't want to, spend a ton of time filing. But basically I am just pushing that product down around the cuticle area. And going to seal it in. It's kind of hard when the finger's bouncing up and down. Trying to make sure I'm not touching the skin. But I find having that builder base underneath really just helps seal it nicely. It helps kind of slide it into place. And it's a good base to have, especially with using a highly pigmented product. As you can see, this is very opaque, including our Foo pink. So, depending on the health of the natural nail, some clients may have weak, damaged natural nails, and sometimes highly pigmented products do not adhere very well on the surface. So having that clear base is really going to help with great bonding and prevent any lifting. Okay, so I've got quite a lot on here. I did put too much on here, but I have to work with this now just because I don't want to be trying to chop it off, which I can with the spatula, and create more work for myself. I'll just have to spend a little bit more time filing where I need to file. But as you can see, I don't have a ton around the cuticle area because I don't want to be filing too much back there. I just want to graze my file over it and call it a day. And with the velveteen, you can really take your time to apply the product perfectly so that you eliminate the filing time. Maybe I'll do a deeper C-curve or a smile line on this one, just because I have so much product. But if that is the case, you guys, and you do have a lot of product, you can chop it off. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it because I just don't want to make it. And sometimes, like if you're not using it too much, and this is another thing, is when you come in to, start learning acrygel for the first time, you're gonna pick up too little, too much, and that's okay. It's gonna take a little bit to get used to, and that all depends on the length as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna look at it from this way, make sure I'm happy and I've got it all built up where I need to. Because I'm doing reverse French, I need to have my walls built up enough for that smile line to tuck in. Everyone has a different way of applying pink and whites. This is just the way I've always done it, the way that I feel comfortable doing it. Turn it around. I do have, it is a ton. You know what, you guys, I'm going to take the time. I think we're good for time, so I'm just going to clean my spatula and show you how to do it, because it is pretty thick. I put too much on. Let's just chop a little bit off, and you know what, that was actually easier than I thought it would be, so that's good. So I'm just going to clean it. Perfect. Much better. Sometimes, you know, I just worry I'm going to, you know, you try to perfect things too much and then you end up making it worse. And then I'm like, oh, should I even take it off? Because I just don't want to make it too messy. But that was actually better. That's going to save a lot of time for the filing. And the great thing about this product is you have all the time in the world to play with it, because it's not going to set until it's exposed to the LED lamp. So that is where the gel part comes in. But it also, if you're a perfectionist, also increase your service time if you don't mean for it to. Okay, I'm happy with that. And then I'm just going to stick my brush right underneath to create that ledge, and then we're going to cure. Okay, so there it is. So I'm going to put that into, whoopsies. Oh, you guys, I knocked it. Oh no, I pulled a Natasha. Shoot, Natasha, I'm going to tell the story just because it'll probably be quicker. But we were doing a class. Our very first class together is a dynamic duo at Edmonton, I think it was. I can't actually recall. We've been on so many. And she did a beautiful, I think it was a sweater nail. I'm pretty confident it was a sweater nail. And it was her first demo. Just a moment we'll always remember. But those are good times. Anyways, I just did that. So now I'm going to watch as I put it in, because I'm like always training my clients to make sure they're doing it correctly so they don't smuck up the gel polish. That's the worst, when you take your time to do it and that happens. Okay, so I'm going to cure that in our Ugly Duckling LED lamp for 60 seconds. Now, curing time is going to completely depend on what application you're doing. If you're just doing a thin overlay on the natural nail, then, and it's a thin application, it could take 30 seconds. And the indication you'll be able to tell when it is fully cured is the surface area is going to kind of turn to a velvet finish. If there are some areas that still look wet and appear wet, or not fully cured, you need to expose it longer. So that's in thickness too. If you're putting it on very thick, like how I had it thick, it could take longer. And if you're using too much gel cleanse, it can also take longer. So those are some just pointers to watch out for. So honestly, cure time varies, but you know comfortably that it is fully cured once it turns to that satin velvet finish. Just looking at some, oh, hi Yvonne. I just happened to look up and you were there. So I'm just gonna cure this a little bit longer. And I had a thought, but then I forgot it. Oh, it is very important too. If your clients have very weak, thin, damaged nail plates, really make sure that you're aware of the application. If you're applying it too thick and you go to put it into the LED light to cure it, it could heat up real fast. And that is because it is far too thick. Just like gel, same idea. You want to avoid that heat spike by making sure your application is not too thick, especially on customers and clients who have the damaged nail plates. I'm just gonna have a peek here, see how we're doing. Not quite. It's almost there because it was a bit thicker, so that is okay. I'm just gonna see if you guys have any questions while I'm having a moment to peek up. I don't know if you guys have ever tried Velveteen Acrygel, but it's wonderful. And actually, I have a clear. Where's my clear? So Velveteen Acrygel comes in pink, foo-foo, white, and clear, which are great options to use. A lot of times people ask how many sets can you get out of one of these tubes, and depending on what you're doing, new set, fills, can vary, but there is a lot of product in here. We also do sell the sliders, which really help to get every last bit out of the tubes. So all the products that you need to perform the service with Acrygel is the Acrygel itself, cleanser, and highly recommend the Velveteen Acrygel. Okay, so it's close. I just want to make sure, and I'm going to do it one more time, you guys, okay? I was sitting here looking at the camera and my light was off. So that is why it's taken a bit longer. I apologize. And then what I'm going to do is come in with my medium file, and I'm going to just file the smile line a little bit just to get in my shape before I apply the white. And you know what, you guys, take the extra time to apply the Velveteen because you'll have less filing at the end. And the great thing about the product is it actually files very soft. So it's like very soft, softer than gel. So you don't need to file it a lot. Okay, so I'm good now. I'm just gonna come in, because I forgot I'm gonna also be exposing this again when I put the white on. And I'm just going to clean up my smile line. Everybody has their own way of doing the smile line. You don't have to. If you apply it perfectly and you don't want to do the filing step, that is fine. You do not need to. Looks like it's going to rain out here a little bit. It's been very foggy in Victoria the last couple of days. But the sun broke out yesterday afternoon, which was kind of nice, actually. But if it's going to rain, I hope it rains real good. Okay. Happy with that. I'm going to give it a dust. And that's why I didn't want to pull the builder base too far out where the pink was going to be. Only because I didn't want all the dust itself to stick on that tack layer. So it's nice because you can choose to use the pink or you can choose to use the foo-foo, just depending on, you know, what maybe complements your client's skin tone better. I just love the look of the pink. It's just so pretty, and just having it by itself too is nice. Just finished with a no wipe top coat. Okay, I'm good with this. I'm happy. I just want to minimize my filing at the end, so I kind of pre-file a little bit just before I actually put on the white. And ideally, it's best to get this all applied in one bead if you can, because you don't want to, especially with pigmented products, foo-foo, the pink in both Acrygel as well as gel, if you're not curing each layer completely and you go to apply the next layer, you're going to have uncured product within each layer, which is not good. Product breakdown issues can cause skin sensitivities that can eventually lead to allergic reactions. So it's really important to try to aim for one bead every time you use the Velveteen. So as you can see, here's the white, very pigmented. It is so white. Make sure, I'm just gonna clean my my Velveteen brush. Our duck paddle does have the spatula on the other end as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna scoop out. I don't want too much, because I always tend to do too much. And then I'm gonna come in and apply it right to the free edge. I'm going to clean my brush. And remove most of the cleanser. Making sure your paper towel is all free of dust particles, especially after this part, because we don't want to get any specks in the white, because it's just going to stick out. I'm just gonna take a second just to dust my thumb off here. Okay, so just come back and I'm just gonna pat and press it out. I've got to brace my finger here. Tuck that product up. It's okay if the white goes on the pink, because I'm going to be filing that off anyways. And you guys, this product does not have an odor. The only thing I would smell would be the cleanser, and the cleanser does not have, you know, a very strong odor at all. It's actually very sweet smelling. So just to manipulate the product, you can pat and press it, just like you do with acrylic. Never is ever going to set or harden on you until you expose it to the light. Just going to tuck that down to the corner. And then we're going to cure it and file it. And then of course I can't not demo and not do some bling. So I have to finish with some bling. Okay, you guys, that's enough of that. I think we're good. Got it all in the areas that I need it to be. Okay, let's cure this. I'm gonna put this over to the side. How's everyone doing? Sometimes the process of demos can take so long, but when you're actually doing, for example, a client's, I would actually come in and you could do all 4 fingers. I always keep the thumbs last, always keep the thumbs last regardless. Because if you try to do thumbs, your client's hands are sitting like this, then we have issues of under curing on one side. This product, unless you're using tons of cleanser, which you shouldn't be, doesn't really self-level. So it's not like it's going to self-level like a gel would, but still you run the risk of having, you know, your placement kind of soften to one side. So keep your thumbs separate. So when applying, let's say, a full color, you can actually apply pinky to your pointer all in one go, perfect it, then have your clients expose their hands to the light and then do the other hand. That will also be a huge time saver when you do that, instead of kind of going back and forth. So that's a real benefit for using the Acrygel system. I am going to, while this is curing, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about our Shtick-It. Our Shtick-It is, well, amongst most of the products, actually all of them, this is my favorite for obvious reasons. I love doing a lot of bling work, crystal work, using small caviar beads. This Shtick-It gel is amazing for using all of those. I like to use larger crystal stones like the pointed backs. And this product allows the gems, the crystals, to stay on from the time your client leaves to the time they come back. And that is amazing. And in the past, I was always afraid to use crystals or embellishments because there was no products where I could use that would be easy to remove as well. So to remove them is extremely easy. Sometimes, just a little tip, if you guys are ever receiving Shtick-It that is really cloudy and thick and grainy looking, it's because it has frozen in transport. It has gotten really cold, and unfortunately it will not return to its original consistency until it's exposed to warm water. So no need to panic. You just have to make sure it's really tightly sealed. You can put it in a Ziploc bag if you choose, and just expose it to water, hot water, for a couple minutes, depending on how much is in the package, and it will go back to its original consistency, okay? So there's nothing wrong with the product if that happens. So I'm going to be using that with just some of our Clear as Mud bling. And this is my little crystal dish. Natasha's watching. I know, Natasha, a lot of people like to keep their crystals in little containers when they work, but nah, I just dump all of my sizes together, all my little beads together, and I find this is how I work the best. So this is where I always put my little bling. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Gotta make sure that's on. Okay, so we're just gonna file and then we're gonna add some bling to that. I might actually want to finish this nail using our matte top coat so I can show you guys how to apply the Shtick-It correctly with the matte. Okay, let's see. Okay, we should be good. All right, here we go. So let's go in and start filing this. I'm just gonna, actually just putting on my mask. Oh, speaking of masks, might be a little bit harder to hear when I'm wearing my mask, but we now have our Ugly Duckling face masks available as well. It's a very new item, so at this point we just released them on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, so our distributors are just working on getting some of them in. And I'm just going for it. Just gonna file the shape. Very easy to file. I'm not putting a whole ton of pressure. It's hard to have nice nails when you're, mind you, I don't do a ton of clients anymore, but it's just hard to keep your nails looking nice when you're working with clients. Even wearing gloves, for example, because I'm always wearing gloves when I'm working doing nails, because they just, you know, as soon as you file through or you touch the gloves with files, they always scratch up. You guys can see that? Trying to stay in frame here as best I can. Just give it a dust. Now I just got to perfect my sidewalls and my free edge. You guys can see it. This is probably my most favorite part of doing nails, is the hand filing. I do use our Ugly Duckling e-file as well for basically taking off most of the bulk, and then I will finish with using my hand file. But I really find that I can perfect my shape just by using my hand file. It's good to have a good hand file. I like to use one time each time I do a set of nails on a client, because I like to have a brand new file just for the shaping. Years ago, when I was first starting out nails, I'd always send my clients home with crooked nails, all the time, but I had no idea, mainly because no one ever told me. Until one of my aunts was brave enough to just, you know, kind of turn her hands to show me, and I was just looking at them. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And, you know, then she kind of broke it to me slowly, like, yeah, they've kind of always been like that. But I didn't know, especially first learning. So you learn all the tricks on how to hold your clients' hands to make sure everything's looking good. Okay. I think we are good now. I might just actually take my e-file and come underneath, just if I want to kind of bevel out the underneath. And it's nice to get real close around the cuticle area. Bevel out that ridge. Okay. Get rid of some of the dust. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to give that a buff. Let me just double check. I think I'm happy with that. I think I'm good. And I'm going to use, there it is, our Ugly Duckling Coarse Buffer. This buffer is what we recommend using when you are finishing off an enhancement prior to gel polish application, color gel application. Generally, you can use a medium buffer, and I always actually kind of finish my nails off with a medium as well. And I have no issues with gel polish ever peeling or, you know, chipping off of the free edge, so it's okay. But if you are experiencing any issues with that, it could be because the surface is too smooth. So something to keep in mind. Okay, enough of that. Give it a good dust. And there you have the Pink and White Velveteen Acrygel application. I love French. This is my favorite, honestly. My favorite looking nail. It's unfortunate because I cannot do that on my opposite hand though. But mind you, it would be actually pretty, I think a lot easier as an option using this product than acrylic and or gel. I love French. So let's just bling this out. Let's bling this out. I think it will be good. Do I want to do matte? What do you guys think? Okay, let's hear. What do you guys think? Should I do matte or shiny? You guys get to decide. The first three I see will be the one I do. Shiny, no wipe. So we have our no wipe or matte. Okay, you guys are deciding on this one. So I will wait to see what you guys choose. Matte or no wipe. We got one matte. We got two matte. Oh, hold on. Was that three? No. Shine, two shine. Oh, matte won. If I saw correctly, matte was the winner. Okay. So our beautiful, sorry guys, I got dust everywhere. Ugly Duckling matte for the win. How exciting. Okay. So, let's do, I'm going to do just a little bit around the cuticle area. So we're going to apply some of our Stick It, put some bling on. Then I'm going to finish with the matte top coat. Let's get my dish ready. So I am going to use my favorite tool, which is Ugly Duckling's Blinger tool in combination with our Stick It. I love these products. So our Blinger tool has a wax tip on one end and a dotting tool on the other, which makes it awesome for picking up the Stick It and then using the wax tip to pick up the bling. Great thing about this tool is you don't have to invest in a new tool every time your wax tip gets worn down because we sell replacement tips. So you can just get a replacement tip for your tool itself. You do want to be careful when you are picking up stones or applying because you don't need to apply a ton of pressure because this is a wax tip and you know it can break off. You, however, can mold it if you want more of a softer point or more of a pointed point depending on what you're using. Okay, so I'm just going to open my Stick It. So this is about the consistency of the Stick It, how it should look. Clear, but it does have a little thickness to it, which is how I enjoy it. If you do have that cloudy looking Stick It, it's still usable. You absolutely can use it like that. No issues with breakdown. However, it might be a bit trickier when you're trying to do clusters to work with a very thick, grainy gel. So this is good. Tip, really important to make sure you keep this foamy insert in the Stick It. If it comes out, because sometimes it does pop out. And I know for myself, if that happens with my acrylic powders, my liners, I just want to throw them out because it's annoying to me. But it's important to keep it in because if you don't, the Stick It is going to leak out on the container. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply a little bit of Stick It to the cuticle area. I'm not going to do a ton, just a little bit. And when you're applying it, I am going to apply exactly where I want it to be. I don't want a ton of Stick It because too much Stick It can also be too bulky. And when you go to apply your bling, when you go to press it into the Stick It, it can actually come around the crystals too much and let's wipe that off quickly. Come over top of the bling, which is not good either. Okay, so apply where you want. This is exactly where I'm going to place all my bling right now before curing. It is important to just put on where you need it to go. Is that too big? No, who am I kidding? There we go. Before curing, because we don't want to have an area that we don't have any bling touching and then cure, because if we go to apply more and we want crystals in that area, it's going to be too bulky and too raised, if that makes sense. And let's say, for example, you have too much on an area, you can wipe off your dotting tool end and just remove it. I want to make sure that sticks in there nicely. And I'm like applying little to no pressure when I'm picking. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like I literally pick up the smallest little beads and they're on there. They're not going anywhere. Oh my goodness. I haven't worn nails for a long time, actually. Haven't really focused on doing much since, you know, lockdown and everything's been going on, but it's nice when you do. You always feel pretty when you have nails on. And I guess that's what I always remembered before I was a nail tech and took the course, is that whenever I got my nails done, I always felt pretty and I felt put together, even if I was, you know, wearing sweatpants or I didn't have my hair done. It's just the one thing that I always felt good in. And it's really nice that we are able to do that for our clients. And I think that's what I really miss about doing clients. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. I tend to like to kind of work some beads down just to kind of trail it. I love using the beads because they are great fillers, even though, you know, you can use all different sizes. Hope you guys can see that okay and it's focusing. But I'm just going to stick with that for now because I don't know how much time we have. I hope we're not running out of time because I want to show you the mat. So, actually, okay, so if you guys have, let's say, for example, I hope that's not really clear, too much, shoot, just added dust, around these areas, you can actually wipe it off with a detailer brush or your painter brush, for example, just to pull some of the gel off so that it's not bumpy around those areas, because you will be able to see it. Now, Stick It does have an inhibition layer, tacky layer, that you either need to cleanse off after you fully cured it or cover it with a no wipe or a matte top coat. Just grabbing my Detailer 2 brush. Detailer 2. I love using this brush when it comes to getting the no wipe or matte top coat around the areas of the crystals without actually covering or touching them, because we don't want to put a no wipe or any top coat for that matter on top of the crystals, because it's definitely going to take the clarity away. I think I pressed the 60-second. Yeah. Okay. So basically with our Stick It, you only need to cure it for 60 seconds. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to give this mat a shake, and I'll tell you why I'm going to give this a shake before I apply it. Over the last 6 months, pandemic happened. A lot of nail techs weren't doing nails a lot, and their matte bottles were sitting. They weren't being used. What happens is the matte pigment actually settles to the bottom. So if you ever find that you're applying the top coat, the matte, and they're coming out with kind of like a sheen to them and not matte, then you need to give your bottle a good shake. That is the only reason, because the matte pigment will settle. You guys can see it does have that matte finish to it. It's cloudy. That's how it should look. So just a pro tip in case that has ever happened to you guys. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my mat and I'm going to firstly just use the corners of my brush and tap it up. With the beads, I actually don't mind going over top with the top coats and just kind of getting those bristles around them because it helps to give that extra seal. I'm going to get up to the crystals. But sometimes, depending, like if you're doing something like this, it's really hard to get your brush into a smaller area. So that is when I will switch to either my painter brush or Detailer 2. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I actually don't have my crystal palette available at the moment, so I'm just going to use the side of the matte bottle. I would recommend using the palette only because these can get wrecked very easily, and I like to keep my bottles nice and clean. I'm going to use my Detailer 2 brush and just really make sure I am getting all areas of the Shtick-It exposed. All around. So this is what you'll do with any top coat, is go kind of in between the crystals to seal over the Shtick-It so that inhibition layer is fully covered. Okay, so there we have it. I'm gonna cure that for 60 seconds. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for joining me today. If any of your questions didn't went unanswered, which I'm sure they didn't because everyone's on them, so I appreciate you guys so much for helping me with the questions. You guys can reach out to any of our team members at any time. We're here to help you with questions. A lot of times it's like products that you're maybe switching over to, you're not familiar with, because all brands work a bit differently. So it's really good to make sure that you know that how you're applying is correct. We also offer educational videos on our products specifically, so that you know how to use them correctly. For example, with the Velveteen, using less liquid for this reason, all of that, because it is important to know that you are applying it correctly and safely to your clients. Okay, so I'm just going to take my lovely, beautiful paper towel. Going to give that a second just to kind of cool off, and we're going to reveal the matte, because matte won. And we're just going to remove it. You can dry wipe or use a cleanse. Oh my gosh, that was a good choice. Oh, look! That makes me excited to see French. There you have it. Beautiful matte. So your matte should look matte, and it's actually great, you guys. I'm glad you chose that because I want you to see the difference between our matte and our no wipe. Very matte and then very shiny. So let's recap quickly on the products that I used. I hope I'm not running out of time. So Ugly Duckling's Premium Fit Tips is what we recommend using for Velveteen Acrygel. You can also use our tippies as well if you choose to. Our wonderful Velveteen Acrygel brush, which I recommend because of the spatula on one end. This brush is awesome to use because of the square. The square brush doesn't hold a ton of cleanser, which makes it easier for proper application. My choice today was our pink Acrygel and our white Acrygel. It does come in clear and foo-foo as well. I use Builder Base as a base. Love this product. It's amazing. You can use it in many different services. So that is our Builder Base. Beautiful little red crystal on the top. Ugly Duckling, whoops, whoa, lid wasn't on. Ugly Duckling Brush On Glue. We also used Prep and Primer. Prep and then Primer. Gel Cleanse is the liquid we suggest using with our Velveteen Acrygel. And I placed just the smallest amount in our crystal Dappen dish. And then we did, of course, my favorite file. Everyone has a preference, but I love using our medium Ugly Duckling grit file. Ugly Duckling Shtick-It for all your bling and embellishment application. Blinger tool. Love this tool. Again, you can buy replacement caps, or tips, I should say. Always, always make sure that you are putting back your caps on your brushes to protect them. Finish with our award-winning matte top coat. A beautiful, beautiful matte top coat. If you guys have any questions while I'm here for a couple seconds, I'll be glad to answer. If not, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you to Alina and her team again for a great weekend of demos. It's always fun to kind of get together, plan your weekend around all the demos and whatnot. Just hanging out. And there you go. A little bit of bling bling. I think I did this one a little bit longer. As you can see, it's a bit longer than the other ones, but that's okay. I'm probably going to be staring at this one. Oh, and not to mention, our matte top coat is super smooth. Very smooth. Okay, you guys. Well, again, thank you so much. I will post an after shot with all the products that I did in this demo. Thank you for all your support, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or evening. And I will talk to you later. If you guys haven't actually followed me on Instagram, you guys can always do that too. It's at Chrystacle, CHRYSTACLE. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.